All right. Welcome to Rhino Live. We're going to do our intro and roll through it, but I want to show you guys this little quick video first and give you an idea where we're going tonight. If you didn't catch that from the thumbnail or the title, we're going to have a little bit of fun and go on a different journey tonight rather than the usual red pill content. And I guess we'll get started here. So let me pull up the screen and let you guys check out this video.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude.
All right, and I'm sure most of you have seen that footage before, but I figured we'd do a refresher for anybody that's been living under a rock. And on that note, let's get into our intro, and then we'll get into the show.
We are the arbiters of this society.
Repeat after me. As a good citizen, we must maintain a neutral carbon footprint. Repeat. Repeat after me. We must eat the bugs. Repeat. Repeat after me. We must eat the bugs. Repeat.
This is a world that we create and manage. The people, they need to be controlled. We will give them truths, but only our truths. They are not to seek information anywhere else.
It is my job to keep order. So what you saw didn't happen. Erase everything.
You a grunt? I used to be one, and I was good at it.
I know. Things were simpler then. I have some questions.
You need to understand, we're being hunted.
By who?
Bring him to me.
This breaks the world.
Their story isn't over yet. There's still a page left.
All right, welcome to Rhino Live, episode 10. The truth is out there. I know that was a little bit longer of an intro, but I wanted you guys to actually hear that. It was written and composed in 1918, believe it or not, by Gustav Holst. It's the planet's first track, which is Mars, the Bringer of War, which I felt was appropriate for tonight's episode since we're talking about aliens. So, I would like to welcome back our two guests, which happen to be Jackal the Emperor and Crusader Nate. How are you guys doing tonight?
Living the dream here, as always.
Still alive.
All right. You guys sound so full of energy right now. Yeah, on the deathbeds over there. All right.
Yeah, well, just remember nightmares are dreams too.
Exactly.
That's why you just
right.
use a general statement. I had a dream. That was it.
I had a dream.
That's why I just said always live in the dream.
All right, I see some of the chats rolling in here. I'm going to start right about when we went live. I got Polska Bob here, was watching Ursa Ryan vid. It was struck by the time I went to check it out. I'm not sure. I think they're talking about Hammerhands still there. But I did not get to check it out, so I don't know. Clytus, I'm bored. God, I love this music. Right on, man. I'm glad you like it. Polska Bob, 2 of you didn't hit the likes. Yes, and on that note, there's a segue. If you haven't already, click the like and go ahead over to the other side, hit subscribe. Also, tap that bell notification so you actually see when we go live so you can see all the future videos we put up. On that note, we will also recommend, if you haven't, head on over to paypal.com/PayPal-Rhino. God damn it. It's going to be one of those nights. PayPal.com/PayPalMe/RedPillRhino. If you guys have a topic you want to address or something you want us to cover, some articles, some videos, whatever, leave a small donation there and put the link or whatever topic you want to address, and we'll be happy to cover it for you. All right, we've got some articles here, and I've got a few of them pulled up. I don't know if we'll go through every single one, and we probably won't read all of them, but if you go to the description below, you can actually check out these articles for yourself as well. So if you're feeling like doing a deep dive, you can do it that way. So the first one here is, and we are pulling from multiple different sources here, to be fair. It's not left or right leaning, it's just information. So we've got the first one from Washington Post. All right. And this is an older article. It's from June 4th, 2021, but it's how the government started taking UFOs seriously. So I'll switch over to the screen here, and we'll get on with that one. So we've got the truth is still out there, or at least we think it might be. A government report due to Congress as soon as this month will not provide a definitive explanation for scores of incidents which unidentified aerial phenomena have been spotted in the sky, officials said Thursday. The report, some details of which were first described by the New York Times, will not offer any firm conclusions surrounding flying objects repeatedly detected by military pilots and others in recent years, the Washington Post reported. Now, if you remember, now this one is one of those where it wants you to register to continue. So if you feel like going over there and registering, by all means. But if you remember the intro we just did, that little footage, which you see in the screen right here, they did release this. It got, I think, leaked to the New York Times, and they went ahead and released it and basically confirmed during the COOF that, yes, in fact, there are some UAPs, as they call them now, but we'll stick to UFO. There are actual UFOs floating around out there. Now, again, for you logical-minded individuals, you might be saying, well, a UFO could just be something, maybe something the military's testing. It could be some anomaly. Some have suggested plasma disbursement in the atmosphere. That could be a reason for it. I'm not here to tell you for certain that there are aliens, but I'm not convinced there's not, if that gives you any indication of my belief system on that. I don't know. I'm not sure. Jackal, Nate, what do you think on that?
Go ahead, Jackal.
I think this is just a bunch of bullshit.
Well, he's straight.
If a man in the early sorry for cutting you off, but if a man in the early 1800s developed technology that would basically take away the need for centralized energy that needs to be delivered via a wire, then how out of the ballpark would it really be for someone to develop anti-gravity technology? I'm referencing Tesla, by the way.
Yeah.
You make a point.
Well, if you look at it, radio waves have been used for 200 years at least, that we've had a basic understanding of radio waves. We have had, there are things that people, look at what we can do with radio waves. Why can't we do that with power? Look at other things that have happened, and look at the way that human history has developed over the centuries. Everybody thought that stars could fall out of the sky. People thought the Earth was the center of the universe. People thought that, Apollo, going back to ancient civilizations, rode a chariot through the sky carrying a ball of fire to supply light.
Yeah.
We learned that was not the case. Then we're realizing that the universe is far bigger than we ever understood even 20 years ago. So I think it's rather arrogant of us to think that we are the only form of intelligent life in a vast amount of space within the universe that could actually do and understand and comprehend and to travel and to do things like that. We're still learning and discovering new species on Earth.
Yeah.
We have fish we don't even understand. So what makes us think we're smart enough to actually understand these other things that are more than likely far beyond us?
So, Jackal, you are under the belief system that there is no potential for alien life. Am I getting that correctly?
Because I have seen no evidence of there actually being another form of life out there. Now, granted, if there is, and they've gotten far more advanced than we have, then they would have the basic intelligence of, okay, we want to stay covert. We don't want to disrupt the daily life of this lower life form that we have come across that's more primitive than us, because they don't have the equivalent technology that we do. So let's not mess with them. Let's just observe from afar. I can understand that.
So
That
what
would
do you
make
attribute?
sense.
What do you attribute all the different sightings that people have seen over the decades? What do you attribute that to?
I attribute that to some group of geniuses out there that have technology, and because they want this technology to stay solely in their possession and don't want others, including militaries, if they're not already used for a military application, to get their hands on it. So they're doing their damned hardest to keep it under wraps.
All right, so I gotta challenge you a little bit more. It's actually it's kind of cool to have very different views between the guests here. Between Jackal and Crusader, you can kind of see some pretty wide divide there. Jackal, I have another question to pick your brain. So when we go back to ancient civilizations, I'm not going to talk about ancient aliens, History Channel nonsense, but there are some indications that perhaps even back when they were still carving stuff in stone, they had described things very similar to UFOs. What about stuff like that?
Well, we're also talking about the people that used to worship cows because they thought that they were divine. They were primitive minded, so it would be totally understandable for them to see some random phenomena that is perfectly explainable now through using what knowledge that we have access to now to prove its existence and explain scientifically what caused that, when back then they didn't even know how fire worked. Other than you set stuff on it and it burns.
It got hot.
It got hot, and you can cook food with it. That's it.
Nate, what do you think? I'm sure you have an argument on this one.
Well, there's a couple of different angles on that. First and foremost, in primitive situations and primitive life forms, most of them were in more tolerable climates, which in more tolerable climates, you get more bacteria and parasites and things like that. And the food and things weren't as clean as they are now. So if one person saw something that could have been a small protozoa in their eye, which may have led them to think they were seeing something in the sky, which is definitely a possibility. And there may have been more people in a small society that were, the entire community was infected with a specific parasite in their eyes, which would lead them to see something very similar. That is definitely a possibility. But right, but looking at the vast majority of what we have on this planet, the sliver of knowledge we have, we barely, I wouldn't even say we know 1% of what's here on Earth, number one. So if we barely have a rudimentary understanding of what we have here, how are we going to understand something that we can't even comprehend the size of compared to where we are?
Right. And one of the things, because I let my mind wander, I put on the tinfoil hat quite often, to be honest with you guys. So you look at ancient civilizations, not just the depictions of odd flying objects on walls, but you see things like, and yes, I'm going to touch on some things that some of you guys, might disagree with me, but that's okay. There are certain temples, certain things like the Great Pyramids, and one of the things about the Great Pyramids that's very interesting is they have a theory, okay, just a theory, allegedly, that it may have actually been some kind of power structure. Now, we take all that and set it aside. Just the mere massive size of some of these structures and the intricacy in which some of these stones were carved, placed, all of that, it is suggested that perhaps there was a far more advanced civilization at one time. I'm going to go down this road that gave these people the information to do that. Now, there are some that even theorize, going way off the rails here, that we may have been from a more advanced civilization. Something happened and wiped out that knowledge. What do you guys think on that?
Highly probable.
Think so, huh? Jackal?
I think that we were that advanced society, and then something happened, and then we got knocked back down to like Neanderthal levels.
Highly probable.
Yeah. Now, that takes me down the road, which, Jackal, I know you're probably going to disagree with me on. That's okay again. But some people have suggested, and I don't have the particulars on my articles tonight, but it's just stuff over the years that I've collected and stuck in the brain pan here. Some people have suggested that we actually are not from this planet. And that's going way off in the deep end, but to have all of this technology that seemed far more advanced than what we can even do now, and then it all disappear, either A, someone from somewhere gave us that information, or perhaps we came from a far more advanced civilization, maybe not from this planet. But that's just a theory, just a thought, probably fantasy, if we're being honest, but it is something to consider. So before we get into the next article, is there anything you guys want to say?
Just lightly touch on the fact of people think that there are belief systems founded and based on people being created here by a supreme being of some form, whichever one someone chooses to subscribe to. But how can you say that one belief system is real, but another theory isn't?
Yeah.
So if you're gonna leave it open to quote unquote faith in a theory of something, you have to keep an open theory on all aspects, until you can provide undeniable evidence to support one or the other.
Well, and that's tricky because in some faiths, some beliefs, they advocate for shutting down some of the other belief systems out there. For example, there are certain religions that will tell you, which I don't want to go too far down that road, but some people will tell you that aliens are actually demons manifesting themselves. I don't subscribe to that, but I've heard it said. So when we get into the faith argument and being open-minded, sometimes faith can put some blinders on you too. But I agree with you. I think if you're going to believe in one thing, such as an almighty being that created everything, then you also have to be open to the possibility that maybe there is life somewhere else. But that's just me. Jackal, your thoughts?
Well, say that God did create another species, intelligent life form other than us.
Mhm.
Okay. It's possible. I mean, he's God. He can do whatever he wants.
Mhm.
But usually what he does is give us at least little hints that we have to decipher through little. We got to play little detective. We got to play Sherlock Holmes and figure out, okay, by this, did he mean that we weren't alone in the galaxy?
Yeah.
If not, okay, then that would prove that then. I have evidence then, because
So-
we've seen it, but I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
Do you? And I know that you follow Christianity, and I'm sure you have. I mean, you're a very educated individual, so I'm sure you have some stuff, some background information on that. Have you seen anything to suggest yay or nay on that particular idea within Scripture?
I'm not a very educated individual, so no, I don't.
Okay, fair enough. I wanted to ask and see. All right, let's see. We got Jimmy Bones in here. Looks like he's on a video call right now for a few minutes. Polska Bob, I happen to think our ancestors were a lot stronger and smarter than we give them credit for. True. And
yes, we were.
Yeah.
This could go down so many roads in future videos, so I'll entertain the thought briefly, and then I'm going to let it go. But there is the theory which lines up with Christianity that there was indeed an ice cap, therefore more oxygen in the atmosphere that created the flood. And human beings, because they had a lot more oxygen, used to be a lot bigger, which leads to the giants. There's a whole lot of crazy stuff when you get into conspiracy theories and just odd topics like that. But that is something I've heard as well. People will say. Kent Hovind, actually, he's a Christian professor of some sort, and he goes into topics like that. So if you guys are interested in the weird stuff that's related to Christianity and how things may have been affected on Earth, including the dinosaurs being in the Bible as dragons and other things, Kent Hovind is somebody to check out. But we can dive into that another night. I just thought I'd bring that up as well. Let's see. Polska Bob, Jimmy, you sticking around? Yep, Jimmy for a little bit longer, but he's going to call me back. Gotcha. And Polska Bob, this is regarding the pyramid, that it is a power source, and the obelisk were the receivers. Tesla thought that also. Now, I didn't know about Tesla on that, but that is very interesting. Let's go ahead and jump into the next article, though. Let's see. We've got bu.edu, and we'll jump over to the screen again for you so you guys can see it. We've got our UFOs visitors from space. Government report won't rule it out. That's interesting. Now, here's the thing, and you guys, Nate and damn it, brain farts all over the place tonight. Jackal. You guys' thoughts on the government? If they really did have evidence, they probably wouldn't tell us anyway, right?
Oh, hell no.
No, they wouldn't. What they want to do is they want to maintain an air of calmness. They want to remain being seen as calm, cool, and collected. They want to be able to maintain some level of control, and people are going to look to the government and say, hey, if this is here, well, what's going on? But if the government just basically is saying, we don't know, this is what we're seeing, and they just kind of back page it, so to speak, oh yeah, we saw this, oh yeah, well, we saw, and they don't really give it much popularity, so it won't go viral, it won't become mainstream.
Right.
As long as they just dribble out a little bit of information at a time, that allows them to seem to be in control. But with the internet and everybody sharing all these different things from all different points, more stuff is coming out and bringing up more questions.
So, do you guys have any thoughts before I get into the meat of the article here? Do you have any thoughts why at 2020 they decided, oh, well, we'll at least tell you, yes, UFOs might be out there. It might be a thing. And here's some videos for you to check out while you're locked in your houses for 2 years. Any ideas why they might have gone that route during that time? Misdirection, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably give us a little bit of fish food to distract us while they're pulling more of their shenanigans.
It would make sense. If we're all, aliens are real, we won't notice about the, this hand
election
over here.
fraud.
Yeah. Laptops and, yeah. Most fair and secure ice cream social ever. Yep.
Yeah, and secret dick suckers in positions of power solely because of the dick sucking.
Banned. We're already there. No, I'm pretty sure Eddie screwed that up earlier. We're still here. We're still live, so we're good. But
yeah, unlike when Billy and I streamed a couple months back, I think we were kicked off live like 26 or 28 times.
28 times?
Yeah, in one night.
How'd you guys pull that off? What were you talking about? See if I can get banned here.
I don't know if you want that. We had to lay low for a couple of weeks about talking. I mean, we literally went over a lot of stuff that night. Oh. I can't remember if it was the 90-Day Fiance or the smothered episode that we did. But one we kept getting kicked offline.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Good times.
Yeah. Well,
pissing someone off.
Yeah, they seem to be loosening up some of their rules. I'm not sure why suddenly, but YouTube, for example, and I think I mentioned this last week as well, they've taken away the censorship. So where if you want to say something like masks may not be effective, see, we're still here. Masks might not be effective. So they're loosening up some of the rules. I don't know if it has something to do with midterms and trying to get everybody complacent again. I don't know, but it's odd. But they still
YouTube's been getting fucked up a little bit and embarrassed. They've had to retract some of their policies because even one of their, well, this is on a completely different topic though. It's on favoritism because one of their top creators, Markiplier, has even made a video exposing their hypocrisy.
Yeah, so they're suppressing the little guy and promoting the channels they like is what you're getting at, yeah?
Yep, and so they've been having their hands full with that. Well, because his video literally proved it.
You know, and doing stuff like banning Crowder for 2 weeks for just simply having a politician on and pushing people over to Rumble. I think Pop on his show last night, they're now having more people on Rumble than on YouTube. So YouTube is literally killing itself.
I think they're realizing that.
Yeah.
I think they're realizing that their market share with all these other alt tech sites popping up, they're noticing a lot of the people that they've been booting off of YouTube are now having greater success on alternate platforms.
Yep.
And they're losing, and they're probably noticing that they're losing the amount of ad revenue. They're losing revenue from website advertisements, just even on their own, that want to buy space on the website, not just commercial space.
Yeah.
Just even little pop-ups. They're losing money that way, and that's probably why they're relaxing some of the restrictions now.
Well, it's a nice change, but I have a feeling that YouTube is already circling the drain. But we shall see.
Oh,
yeah. And on that note, let's quit waffling.
Speaking of
here
circling
for a
the drain.
Yeah. All right. We'll read through a little bit of this article, and guys in the chat, I will read more of your chats tonight. If it gets too crazy, I'll explain how to change that so I only read the ones that you guys definitely want me to read. But for now, as long as chats are coming in slow and steady, I'll read most of them. So on that note, it's your chance tonight to join the conversation. Let us know what you think as well. All right, here's the article. The truth is out there, but for now, it doesn't involve extraterrestrial visitors. It could, however, be a foreign powers technology. Now, that I could believe. Even if the government did know, let's say something crazy, like let's say you see a strange object over a football field that flies through. I mean, we have supersonic technology and stuff like that now, so even if they did know something was going on, whether it was foreign or domestic, they probably wouldn't let you know. But here we go. So concludes a forthcoming U.S. government report whose broad findings leaked earlier this month on unidentified aerial phenomena. I prefer UFO. But the current less X-Files sounding term for UFOs, the investigation followed sightings and videos recorded in recent years by fighter aircraft, instruments, and pilots' naked eyes. Yes, that's what the pre-intro was there. Those few images are from what they're talking about here, of objects flying at seemingly impossible speed and doing seemingly impossible maneuvers. So there is the possibility that could have been some kind of foreign testing. We don't know. And that's the whole point of the stream. We don't know. Unless, a UFO flies over the house, abducts me right now, and you see it live on air, we probably are not going to have definitive evidence for you tonight.
You mean like when you started to hear some vibration going on above you?
Yeah. I don't think that was a UFO. That may have been something else. Unidentified activity. Yeah. All right. Where are we at? We just got through that. UFOs aren't just a playpen of conspiracy theorists. Well, yeah, and sci-fi fans. NASA awards grants to reputable scientists seeking real-life ETs, and we've been scanning the heavens for signs of artificial signals for decades, says Thomas Benaya, a College of Arts and Sciences professor. I'm glad that worked out for him, because most of the time that's a useless degree.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, I had to. Professor of astronomy. Okay, there you go, because he's in astronomy, you see. Kids, if you're getting liberal arts degrees, remember to apply them to things that actually are useful in life. All right. He researches the possibility of life elsewhere, along with many in his field. Carl Sagan owes me money, he says, a debt he knows he won't collect, as his celebrity colleague died in 1986. I was going to say, dude's not around, so I don't know how you're going to get that money.
Been gone a while.
Yeah. Benaya and Jack Weinstein, a Pardee School of Global Studies professor of the practice of international security, and that's a mouthful degree there, and retired Air Force Lieutenant General, offered their takes on the government's conclusions, BU today. BU today. Any doubts about the government's reported conclusions that recent sightings aren't extraterrestrials? Jack Weinstein. I have no expertise in UFOs except for watching Men in Black. Well, there you go. I never flew for the Air Force. I was a nuclear space guy. Never did we track something that we thought was a UFO. All right. My concern with the reports is that it stated it could be a foreign powers technology. The UFO sightings dating back to the 50s and 60s were never technology that we were able to see later on from a foreign power. That is interesting. What do you guys think about that?
Jack will go ahead.
I've got nothing. That just sounds...
Yeah.
Well, that sounds more like skirting around, I know something's there, but I just don't know it yet. That's what it sounds like to me. Excuses.
The United States is the only fifth generation fighters that have been serviceable and put into operation on Earth that we have evidence of.
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me societies that still struggle to be able to produce a fifth gen competitive aircraft have gone above, beyond, and have been able to break what the known laws of physics are, but yet they can't develop a fifth generational fighter?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sounds like some bullshit to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Let me grab the waders and a shovel. It's getting a little deep here. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
looking at all of. Is it possible? Yes.
Mhm.
Is it probable? Maybe. Is it likely? No.
Yeah. Yeah, he goes on here. All I'm saying is that if a foreign power developed technology, then later on we'd see technology like that from them, either in operation or testing. Yep. All right.
We've done unmanned aircraft that have gone Mach 6 to Mach 8, I think.
Yeah.
And they've gotten destroyed, and due to atmospheric pressures, you can't. Some of these things that these aircraft are doing, that you see in videos,
Mm-hmm.
that goes completely against any and all known laws of physics to us.
Yeah.
So, how is that actually happening?
That's a very good question. That is the unanswered question.
And nobody seems to want to talk about that.
No, they just put it over here. Worry about that.
Look over here.
Look, the coof.
Right. We have a new variant.
Yeah. Yeah. Wonder if there's any information about this technology on a certain laptop. Probably not. Just Parmesan cheese and inappropriate things.
Yeah, adult content.
And including somebody's niece.
I'm trying not to get banned.
Allegedly.
I'm pushing it right to the edge and reeling it back in.
Seeing how far that edge goes out?
Yeah, if we get disconnected from the internet tonight, guys, you know why. All right, moving on. Thomas Benaya. Do any of us believe these are actual flying saucers from outer space? He flat out says no. But, and I don't have those for the screen, but, yeah, well, Jackal sent some, but I didn't have time to throw another screen for that.
You have to set up a whole nother tab for that on Streamlabs, right? Oh, damn.
So I have to click. There really isn't enough information to evaluate what is going on. In other words, he has no clue. The government shows images of these objects. They have ruled out extraterrestrial technology. Have they? Yet, then they say these things have enormous speeds and do maneuvers that are impossible to replicate by our technology. That's exactly what you're just saying. All of those claims require that we know the distance to the target. Well, yeah, there is that. Think of an airplane. If you look at a 747 in the sky, it doesn't appear to be moving very fast. It's going 600 miles an hour, but okay, that begs the question. Let's just say you're the average Joe, and you see an airplane flying through the sky. So you record it, and it's going like, I don't know, let's do this on screen. It's going like this across the screen here. Like an airplane looks like. But then one day you go out and you see something doing this and this and this and then flying off. Explain that to me. And they're at relative distance. So we don't know the size. Obviously, we don't know the size of the object. We don't know the exact distance of the object. But when it's doing crap in the sky that can't be done without just crashing a plane, you tell me what's going on there. And this guy's going to try to say, well, it's related to distance. That's why it looks that way. I don't know. I don't know if I'm buying it. Anyway, and the government's not telling us whether they know the distance. Yeah, but I still got to say, some of those things you just can't do with a plane. Even a really fancy plane you can't do. These are not reliable measurements of speed and acceleration unless they know the distance to the object, and they're not telling us. Fine, fair enough. This is a very long article, so we probably won't cover all of it, but let's see. Media coverage cited experts who doubt foreign technology could have been invented without our knowing, and that it could have been kept secret. Well, that's no shit, Sherlock. Weinstein. I won't go that far. China has developed some good technology much faster than we thought they were going to. To go back, if we think a foreign power has developed a technology, we could have seen that technology later on in testing. That's what they just said. So this is going to be a very long article where there's basically just saying, well, we would have seen something like that, but we haven't. You know, I got to agree with that. If there was technology that could whiz through the skies and dart back and forth and then disappear in the 50s, right? Then why don't we see it today? Unless it's still some, confidential, top secret technology they're still not releasing. But I would imagine after that much, time, we would know something. Let me check these chats really quick and see what you guys have to say. If there's anything you wanted to add to the conversation tonight. Let's see. Looks like, where are we at? Well, we've got Polska here. There's also a legend from African tribes that the moon is an egg and was brought here by aliens that caused the Great Flood from the Bible. There you go. That's one I haven't heard. Did I miss anything before that? Yeah, I don't think so. Wait, Clytus, I'm bored. There could have been more O2 in the atmosphere in the past because of plants and a thicker atmosphere. My allergies are really bad. Hang on. I'm going to try to get that under control. Okay. Due to not so much loss through bleed to space. All right. And then we've got Polska Bomb. They think the moon is hollow. That's the African tribes thing. For all I know, the moon is made of cheese. I haven't been there personally to find out. Only know what the guys on the TV told me to believe. Jeff Hunter. You see the article above. Yes, see the article above. All right. Clytus, I'm bored. Polska Bob, that was a horrible Doctor Who episode. I didn't know. Is that African Tribe a Doctor Who episode? Polska Bob, it's called Programs as in Programming. Polska Bob, Pop had 1,200 on Rumble when we did the alt-tech roll call. Yeah, that's pretty good. As a matter of fact, I've seen him only hit like 800 to 1,000 on YouTube, so I think he is doing better on alt-tech now. It's been... Jimmy Bones, it's been a while since Redonkulous has had more than 1K viewers. Yeah, that's what I just said. There you go. So that's good. Alt Tech is definitely working out. Jimmy Bones on YouTube, I should add. Yep. Polska Bob. Jimmy, I don't need to read all these. This is where I read anything on the teleprompter. Can't do that. All right. Guys,
Stop
if we're going
the line.
What's that?
Stop, repeat the line.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. We do have one here from Jimmy Bones. If Neil Armstrong was the first man on the moon, then who set up the camera to record him being the first man on the moon? Well, I'd love to entertain
the engineers that installed the camera outside the module.
Right. I'm gonna say that maybe Neil Armstrong set up the camera and then walked back and then filmed it, maybe.
Yeah.
That's my...
You can always do that.
Yeah.
First viral selfie video.
Yeah.
The first selfie.
He didn't have a selfie stick back then, so,
Yeah.
Got to do it the old-fashioned way. Just put a tripod on the ground. Hit record.
There you go.
There's no school like old school.
Yep.
Guys in the chat,
This old retro.
Guys in the chat here, I did this last time. It seems to work out pretty good because I know you guys talk internally on the chat as well. If you have something you want to add to the show, type it in all caps. And when the guys give you shit for screaming, it's fine. It's the only way I'm going to be able to get through chats and read you guys' comments you want me to read for now is by doing all caps. So do that if you can for me. Thank you. Let's see. Let's go on to the next article here. Because that last article, like I said, it's going to be the same thing. Well, there could be something, but yeah. All right. The military's... Oh, this is from NPR, which bores me to death to listen to, but here we go. The military's UFO database now has info from about 400 reported incidents. All right. I would figure it'd be higher than 400 by now, but okay. Maybe that's the 400 they're willing to tell you about. A database of reports of UFOs now includes about 400 incidents, up to 143 assessed in a report released about a year ago. A Navy intelligence official told lawmakers at a congressional hearing on Tuesday. The military's 2020 report said no evidence of aliens have been found. There's nothing to see here. Move along. Scott W.
Didn't somebody
Bray.
say something about misdirection?
Well, yeah, somebody mentioned that here.
Yeah, I think I heard that somewhere.
No aliens. Nothing to see here. Scott W. Bray, the deputy director of naval intelligence, told lawmakers, first off, why are we having a discussion with lawmakers about aliens? I'm kind of curious about that. Yeah, that just, let me highlight that. Why are we talking to lawmakers about aliens? A little strange. Told lawmakers that they still haven't uncovered anything non-terrestrial in origin, even though there are incidents they can't explain. All right. None of the documented objects had attempted to communicate with U.S. aviators. Right. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Nope. They definitely did not try to communicate at all. And even if they did, they're not telling you. And no attempt had been made to communicate with them. So we didn't, say, hey, flying disc off to my right, are you okay? Yeah, we didn't talk to them or try to. We just, look at that on the horizon there. Crazy. All right, moving on. All right.
You totally didn't tell him, hey, bro, I'm about to start rolling the camera. Just fly straight.
Fly straight.
Copy that. I'll let you know when I'm going to hit full throttle. You just pretend to be excited and totally astonished, okay?
Yeah.
Roger that.
All right. Reports of unidentified flying objects, now called unidentified flying objects or unexplained aerial phenomena. I don't know why we have to change things all the time, but whatever. By the military have been increasing, said Bray. He cited improved sensors and increase in drones and other non-military unmanned aerial systems. An aerial clutter. Yeah, well, if you have more things in the sky, there's more chance to see things in the sky. So that's not surprising to me. And then we have encouraging more pilots to come forward. So, you know what? This does feel, again, like you're saying misdirection. Why aren't we just saying, hey, we have some information, we'd like to share it? Instead, it's like, we're going to encourage pilots to come forward, but, we don't know anything, and there's no UFOs. It just doesn't add up, man. What do you guys think?
Well, the reason they're not willing to admit that they don't know what's going on is because that would raise a panic. An individual can be smart, but people as a group are stupid. Yeah,
I mean, that's true.
I mean, if you look at basic horde mentality of human behavior, if a fight breaks out in one area, it just becomes a mob, and it gets bigger and it gets more violent. We still haven't figured out why people do that.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of why I couldn't find toilet paper for weeks on end. Right. One person panics, I better go out and buy TP, and suddenly everyone does it. Like, all right. And of all the things you could buy, if you think the world's going to end to some plague, toilet paper was on the top of your list. We are advancing great as a civilization.
Yeah. Well, I know Billy and I talked about this a couple weeks ago or a couple months ago.
Yeah.
The movie Idiocracy. It went from being a comedy to being a documentary.
Yeah.
And you look at it, people's IQs are slipping over the generations. I mean, people are not getting smarter.
No.
So.
What was that I said about the average IQ is burning in?
Yeah, average IQ slipping has been for the past couple of decades.
That's what I fucking thought.
people don't seem to be interested in educating themselves either. It's just I'm gonna watch whatever's on TV and zone
drugs
out.
and
well, drugs, yeah.
Exploring the holes and
well, that's
alcohol and watching TikToks.
Yeah,
and making them.
Here's my thing. It's not natural, man. To be staring at a screen all day. It's just we're not designed that way. You know, you just go into what is it when you're watching TV? You go into like I can't remember what they said the phase of sleep is, but essentially you're at like that just barely in the sleep cycle
REM?
there. Not REM.
No,
it's like Delta or something.
It's a light layer of sleep.
Yeah.
You basically can have moments of body paralysis, limb paralysis, and you're actually there's actually a lot of studies that are going on now where they're looking into that in the brain waves. If you look at where the brain waves and the brain patterns shift when people sit and watch movies or TV or binge watch episodes, the brain wave pattern changes greatly.
Interesting.
Because of that, and they can't figure that out yet.
I'm just gonna stick with it's probably not a good thing.
Yeah.
You know, in nature we were hunters and or gatherers, but this whole sitting complacent on a couch with Doritos is probably not a natural state.
Yeah, really making me feel conscious about me just sitting here playing Ravenfield on the side with my cold cup of coffee.
As everybody in the audience watching live is sitting there watching us.
Yes, ramble on about random shit.
As I'm staring at a screen talking to you. Hypocrites.
Well, a little bit of this and that here and there is not going to kill you,
right?
But you have these people like when everything got locked down and shut down. I mean, I know people that were literally binging seasons of shows in a week. Like they're watching someone I know who shall remain nameless. They wound up binge watching every season of Criminal Minds in the first 2 weeks of the lockdown.
Good night. That's day in, day out watching.
Glue your damn ass to the couch, man. Are you still watching? He's just over here. Are you still watching?
Right. It's like, okay, that's like 10 years worth of a TV show.
God damn.
And it's like, you watched all of it in like 2 weeks or a little bit more. Yeah, there's a problem with that.
Yeah, that's very healthy.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do a show on that topic. I think I think we'll leave it here, but that's depressing. That's very sad. Let's see. I'm going to leave that one at that. So if you guys want to check out any of these articles, you are more than welcome to. They are in the description below. And we will move on to the next one. Let me see where we are at on time, too. We are 1 hour in. So actually, guys, if you guys need to refill your drinks or empty the main vein, now is the time to do it. We're going to do a quick little break and then jump into the next article here. Yeah, so we'll be right back.
Feel it, Harry? It's our big chance.
All right, had to cut that last one short because it gives me a copyright strike if I let it play through. I need to change the song on that still, so. Let me check the chat real quick and then we'll get into the article. Check viewers as well. We are low tonight, but actually, we're doing better than we have been. To be honest with you guys, after not being on YouTube for a decade, seeing any of you guys watching the live streams, especially all the way through, I'm humbled by that. Because there are channels just starting off right now, and they are suppressed and buried, and nobody is seeing their stuff. I've been taking a dive into some of the other red pill channels, not the mainstream ones, but the ones like Chris Mitchell, stuff like that, that are smaller channels. Great content, but yet the views are so low. This is a YouTube problem. It's not his fault. He puts out great stuff, and a matter of fact, he marathons it. You can tune in at 8 o'clock at night or 6 o'clock in the morning. He's still in the same damn stream. So that guy is doing the work. But the problem is he's not getting the views. By the way, if you guys haven't subscribed, go over. Yes, I'm plugging guys in the community. That's what I do. Go over and check out Chris Mitchell on YouTube at the end of the stream. Just jot it down or make a mental note. Go subscribe to him. He does some pretty good stuff too. He's up in Canada there. And I really like his channel. So, and Billy Von Baum as well. And the intro we had, not the break, but the intro we had was done by Billy Von Baum. So go check him out at billyvonbaum.com. Yeah, and I think that covers it for plugs tonight. Let me jump over to the chat. See what you guys are saying. It scrolls down on me automatically, which is a bummer because I'm trying to see where I left off. Let's see. Here we go. Polska Bob, I don't know if I've read this or not, but I'll read it again if I didn't, or did. I've seen an orange ball in the night sky on 2 occasions. Years ago, while at my sister's place, me and my brothers-in-law, Tim. I'm assuming that was the 2 occasions there, just rolled up there. Polska Bob, oh no, it was all the same. Okay, the second time was on my balcony with my brother. Same object, no sound, just orange ball. Hung there a few minutes and flew off real fast. So you have actually experienced some of this UFO or UAP. UFO. You've experienced some of it. I've only experienced a UFO one time in my life. And it wasn't anything dramatic or crazy. This was before smartphones or any of that. I was in, I think it was in middle school. Pretty sure it was middle school. Me and my buddies, we were trading cards back then, and we would meet up at the park after school got out. We all walked there, and we'd trade cards. And we all noticed, all three of us noticed this weird thing flying, and then it stopped, and then it flew a little bit more, went into a cloud, and we waited. And the thing never came out. It was just like a silver. It didn't look like a plane. Just looked like aluminum foil in the sky. I don't know how else to explain it. Just that shiny, weird, no wings, no nothing. Just flew into the cloud and then poof, never came out. That's the only experience I have. So nothing fantastic. I have a few paranormal experiences for sure. That's a stream. If you guys like the paranormal, I need to set up. I don't know if Nate or Jackal, you guys have any paranormal activity in your past? Anything like that?
Oh, I got stories that even thinking about them still give me goosebumps.
Jackal?
None of them are mine, but I do know of some paranormal things happening.
We might do a stream on that. If you guys are interested in joining something like that, we could do a StreamYards video, which wouldn't be all the fancy transitions like this. But I'd definitely like to do a show and hear your paranormal stories. I've got a few, but I definitely love to hear what you guys have been through. So Polska, Jimmy, any of you guys watching tonight, if you guys have some stories, send me a message at redpillrhino@hotmail.com. Again, that's redpillrhino@hotmail.com. And maybe we can set up a paranormal chat on a live stream. I think that would be a lot of fun. You guys into that? If we did that, Jackal and Nate?
Oh, yeah.
All right. And Jackal?
Eh.
Eh. All right. Fine. We'll have to find some new topics for Jackal. I think, Jackal, you want to do a little bit more red pill stuff again, yeah?
No, that's fine.
All right.
Because harping too much on the women, that takes years off your life.
That's why we're doing the alien stream tonight. I've told you guys in the last stream as well. I have no problem covering red pill topics, but I'm not a PUA, and I'm not going to sell you a book on how to get the vagine. Not doing it. And after I tell you, don't get married, and most women suck a million times, it's like, I can only say the same thing so many times before I just don't want to get on the internet anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I'm going these different directions. Now, I do need to do some more red pill content because there are some guys that probably stumble in my channel that have never been here before. And if I can open the doorway to a few of them, not just my content, but move them to Pop, move them to, I don't know, all the guys out there. I think of Pop right away. That's who I watch every week. But if I can move them to these channels and educate them and keep them from making bad decisions, of course. So I do need to continue doing that, but why not have a little fun too? We can't just talk about the same things all the time.
Well, yeah, I've had conversations with Chris Mitchell, which, as you've alluded to before, do tend to get rather lengthy.
Yeah, very.
They take a few minutes. I'll openly admit that.
Yeah, you can see the sun go down and rise.
Exactly. We had a conversation about the thing that isn't really being said out there is a lot of the guys that are out there that are looking for some guidance, looking for some direction. What you need to do is start pointing them into improving themselves and improving the communities that they live in.
Yeah.
Be a positive force where they are with what they have. And not just harp on the same point everybody else is, but raise awareness that they can bring something to the table of a community to improve the community.
Yeah. And actually, that's one of the things I'm experimenting with here, with having you guys on, having Jimmy on, and going on Billy's show, stuff like that. I'd like to actually bring the community of guys together, because I notice some of the heavy hitters, they've got their own circle of guys, but they're the same thing. It's a red pill, red pill, red pill all day long. What I'd like to do is...
You want to form a coalition of different topics, experts.
Yes. Not only that, but so for instance, we have, with the Pop supporters, we have the Gilded Chat. What I'd like to see more of is, it's not an insult by any means, but the average guys, the guys that are part of the community, coming together and having a place where they can talk and share ideas and chat. And if we do that in live streams like Chris Mitchell does, like Billy does, I'm trying to do some of it. I think that's awesome. And by the way, guys in the chat, you are more than welcome to come on the show. Just, again, redpillrhino@hotmail.com, and we can arrange something. But I think that's important. What do you guys think on that?
Yeah. Anything to, like I said, to grow and to improve humanity as a community as a whole, to save people's lives like Pop does, but to also allow people to escape from, when I was a kid, they used to call it the idiot box. You know, now it's just a flat panel on a screen that flashes lights at your face and keeps people dumbfounded for hours.
Yeah.
And it's just the same regurgitated stuff. This, I hope, provokes people to think and open their minds and to look at different things and to question it.
Well, and you bring something up there that it's not on the alien topic, but we're on a tangent. We do that on this channel.
Sometimes.
Only a little bit.
Right.
But here's the thing. I've been watching TV lately. Yeah. Oh, guilty admission there. And I can't watch any of it. I can't watch any of it. There was just a video on, I don't know what it was, but it was like some tornado movie. Woke crap in that. You watch stuff like, I did watch the latest season of Dexter, no spoilers, but I heard cisgender male in there. I'm like, I can't go anywhere. I understand that Sandman comics back in '89 were already progressive, but I couldn't find straight people in the show. Now, there's nothing wrong with whatever you want to be, but when you force an agenda down the audience's throats, that's not good entertainment. Here's why. When I get on to watch something on TV or go to the movies, I want an escape from reality. I don't want to sit there and have a woke agenda that I get to see on the news, outside, at protests. When I'm going to work, you got to wear a mask in here. Not anymore so much. Well, I do go in hospitals and still have to deal with that crap. But the last thing I want when I sit down to watch something, to zone out, not to binge, but to zone out and watch something entertaining, I don't want the agenda. They're doing it in games now, too. The new... I've said this already in a previous live, but the new Grand Theft Auto is forcing their agenda on me as well. It's like, I can't go anywhere anymore. So that leads me back to what we're talking about here. If the men in this community had a place to go where it wasn't that crap, where they could actually share ideas and bullshit about topics like aliens or whatever you want to talk about, I find that far more productive. Now, there are people out there that are doing some of this stuff. You have the Daily Wire making movies now. You have Tim Pool, who's trying to do a record studio of his own, record company. So parallel economy is what they're calling that. By the way,
that's Dan Bongino's financial processing.
There's somebody that watches this show. Friend of mine, known him for years, and he actually chatted with me the other day. He said, have you checked out Parallel Economy? And I said, no. I know about the concept, but I haven't checked it out. But I believe it's like a PayPal, but without all the BS, yeah? So that might be something to look into.
Yeah, and it seems to be doing very well. And it's basically... you guys are still a little bit younger than me, but 20 years ago, everything was you do you, you do your thing, I'll do my thing. We can agree to live together. I'm not going to force my way on you. You don't force your way on me. We do our own thing. We coexist.
Yeah.
And we find a common ground. But now, like you were just saying, with everything is being forced, you have to see person X's point of view only. Mm-hmm. If you don't agree with it, you shouldn't have a voice. You shouldn't be allowed to say or do anything.
Yeah.
And if person X wants to have, social acceptance, if they want to have their beliefs, their lifestyles, their opinions accepted by others, why aren't they being accepting? If you want acceptance from me, why aren't you accepting me for who I am, but I'm supposed to accept you for who you are?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's where you get into people being silenced, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the conundrum that we find ourselves in situations like that. And that's why having avenues with information like this, with different people, with different beliefs and backgrounds, that's where we're bringing back the conversations from 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Like the old George Norrie, the old Art Bell. This is all stuff they talked about because it was a common point that has now become lost.
I absolutely agree with that. And you've been around the sun a few more times than me. I have a question for you.
Sure.
Politics. Let's go back to maybe your early adult years when you would have actually paid attention to it. But did you see any kind... Yeah, there were obviously Democrats, Republicans, whatever. But did you see the hostility towards each other? Because that's not how I remembered it even when I was a kid.
Going back to voting back in the 1900s. Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm old enough to be able to say I've done that. I filled out my draft card back in the 1900s in the last millennia, but there was a fringe level of that, but it is not as prevalent or pronounced as it is now.
Yeah.
It spiked in 2000. It got a little bit more intense at 2007, 2008. Then it kind of died down around 2010, 2012. And then around, let's say about 2012, 2013 timeframe, it ramped right back up on steroids. But what not many people understand or realize is during that time frame, a lot of the major newspapers between 2008 and 2012, I'd say, a lot of them were going digital. They were all going to websites. This is long before apps were even popular. And the discussion was newspapers. There were major progressive cities that were getting rid of newspapers to prevent, killing trees and doing things like that.
Right.
And then now that whole aspect has been forgotten about, and all these newspapers are constantly pumping out the same content. I mean, there's a lot of people that go out there, and a newspaper from Indianapolis is printing literally the same articles, same words with a different author talking about the same thing.
Yeah.
And in 10 or 15 different cities. I can't remember who it was that went over that, but I think they found 32 different news articles written by 32 different people that were literally word for word identical in 32 different newspapers in 32 different states.
Yeah, that's that's crazy. Well, that reminds me of the news too. Like TV news, they're all saying the same thing on different channels across the country.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've seen it. It has definitely escalated, and I think a lot of it has to do with the media is a contributing factor, because the media makes money off of sensationalizing everyday events to draw people in, to keep their attention so they can sell ad space.
Yeah.
And not many people realize that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sad, man. On that note, I think we've gone off into the weeds for a while now, which is okay. Yeah. But for those who showed up for aliens, we better get back on topic here.
Yeah.
Jackal, do you still have a pulse over there?
Yeah.
All right. You're just kind of quiet tonight. I'm used to you being rambunctious.
Yeah, I had to bust my ass at work yesterday, so I'm very tired.
I got you. Well, we
will try not to keep this too long.
What's that?
They had to cut so many people, so now I'm having to work in basically half of the store's departments.
Isn't that fun? Corporate America.
Oh, fuck the corpos.
Yep. Living the dream, as Crusader said it. That's right. Nightmares are dreams, too. All right, let's see. Jimmy Bones in the chat. If Neil Armstrong was the first person on the moon, then... Oh, I already read that. Moving on down. Jimmy Bones, I put on my aluminum foil hat for that comment. By the way, aluminum foil is far superior than tin for your hats, gents. Clytus, I'm bored. Oh, yeah, I was going to say all caps are the only thing I'm going to read anymore, and here I am reading everything again. All right, I'll read a couple more. It is a slower chat night, so it's fine. Clytus, I'm bored. Why? To find ways to generate new taxes from them. I'm not sure what you're referring to there. Is there something I missed on the conversation earlier? Probably so. Dr. Manhattan, potato in chief. Jimmy Bones. That quote from Kay comes to mind. MIB reference. Jimmy Bones again. Yep. A couple quotes come to mind, actually. And I see Edmund has showed up. Hello, all. I am here finally. Good to see you. I was working a bit. No worries, man. It happens to the best of us. We all have jobs and things to take care of. So appreciate you that you're here, though. And it is awesome to see you. All right, we got Polska. He's checking out for now. Looks like he's got some stuff to do. And Edmund. I skipped Jimmy. Damn it. Jimmy Bones. Hell yeah. I only got a couple stories, but they freaked me out a bit. Jimmy, we will have you on for a paranormal stream then. Edmund,
just don't Walt Disney us.
Nah, I already know where this is going. You have Jimmy on a stream with us. It's Jimmy being Jimmy. it's part of the deal. Let's see. We got Edmund here. I put up my food prep, so I am back, but you all were playing in the background. Right on. I agree with Jackal. Harping on women does take years off your life. Yes. I came here to do Red Pill content, and here we are talking about aliens. Because, quite frankly, I value my sanity a little bit, too. I don't know how, and you guys may not like their channel, whatever. That's fine. Don't care. Some people don't like stuff. That's cool. But Fresh and Fit, for example, I don't know how they can be happy having these low-value, crazy Miami women on every night without losing their minds. I don't get it. I would have thrown myself out of their window by now if I were them, man. I can't do it.
Oh, yeah. Being stuck just being in the same room as some of those women, I think I'd feel neurons start degrading, dying.
Well, yeah. Looking at what they're doing, they have a formula, they have a system, they have a layout and an outline of how all of their episodes work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Call me crazy, because you wouldn't be the first, but I would say that they seem to follow a specific model.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm already thinking, just from my limited exposure to their stuff, what if this isn't already? What if this is already all scripted ahead of time, just to draw attention?
Yeah, they do seem like. I'm not saying anything negative about any of them, but they do seem to be very successful, very rapidly, and very good at monetizing their channels. So,
right.
I mean, it could very well be a modern. What is the word? The show I'm looking for? Jerry Springer could be a modern version of that.
Exactly.
Very possible.
Very possible.
Next week, we'll be talking about conspiracy theories regarding Red Pill channel. Kidding. Not going there.
We could.
Yeah, we definitely could. Which ones are real and which ones are propaganda? Jimmy Bones. SAD. An unexpected death is now a thing in medical professionals. Just can't figure out what's going on, what's causing it. Yes, sudden. I don't think I can say that. Yeah, we'll leave it at sad. Guys, if you know what sudden syndrome is, I wonder if there's a correlation between that and a certain poke. Jimmy Bones. Jimmy was Jimmy. Jimmy was off the hook. Jimmy was off the hook. The hook. He also likes to drink. Don't judge him. It's interesting. Jimmy refers to himself as Jimmy. I gotta watch out for him on my streams.
He didn't get to be Timmy, so he needed to back off before his mind went dimmy.
The rhymes have begun.
Yep.
I was just looking at some local news in my area. There was a 27-year-old female reporter who met an untimely end, and everybody's trying to figure out why.
Yeah.
And there's been multiple ones in my area, people who have checked, left their keys at the desk, as Pop would say, at a very young age, with no underlying or interfering incidences. But it seems to be more common.
This is the last off-topic thing I'll say, because this could go on forever. And we've still got a few articles. I've saved the best for last. So if you're still watching, I intentionally saved the best for last for the dedicated viewers. But here's the last waffling thing I'll say of the night. The Great Resignation. This is something that has puzzled me. I just had a conversation with one of my buddies, goes way back, haven't talked to him in a few years, and we picked up like it was yesterday. And we were talking about all sorts of things, government, red pill topics, whatever it was. And he's just a good old boy. He does granite countertops. Not going to say anything else about him. But he's a hardworking, he's just a good dude. But anyway, we vibe on a lot of things. And one of the things he said, I said, vibe, that's a sin. But one of the things he said that I am wondering myself is the Great Resignation. Where did they all go? You have a lot of people quitting their jobs and still surviving somehow. I don't know. It seems a little fishy to me. I just don't know. That's a whole different topic for another day. But it is puzzling. If so many millions of people are just suddenly quitting their jobs, where are they now? You know, very strange. Anyway, let's get back to this alien stuff, because we've gone off the rails for about 30 minutes. It happens here. Let me move this screen back over. By the way, you guys can still see the screen on your end, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Moving back into the articles. And I was going to do videos for you guys tonight, but quite frankly, I couldn't find anything that wasn't more tinfoil hat than this is, if you can believe it. The stuff I was finding is just like, all right, Larry, okay, that rock is definitely a person walking around on Mars. Sure. Yeah, it was bad. So I couldn't find any videos that were even remotely worth sharing with you guys tonight. But here we go. This is from theguardian.com. Something's coming. There's something on the wing. Something. If you guys know what that is from, put it in the chat. If not, I'm sorry. You need to go back and watch your black and white content. Is America finally ready to take UFOs seriously? UFO watchers say that 2022 could prove to be a bumper year as clamor for details grow in the wake of a highly anticipated report. Wonder what that could be. Last year was a breakthrough time for UFOs as a landmark government report prompted the possibility of extraterrestrial visitors to finally be taken seriously by everyone from senators to a former president to the Pentagon. Now, you know, that's not that new, because even Reagan said a few things about aliens and what would happen if they ever came and invaded. So it's not like, you know, presidents have never said anything about aliens before. But 2022 could be even more profound, experts say, as the clamor for the UFO disclosure and discovery continues to grow, and as new scientific projects bring us closer than ever to potentially discovering non-Earth life. In June, the Pentagon released a highly anticipated report on unexplained aerial phenomena, UFOs. Come on, guys. The now preferred nomenclature by some in the extraterrestrial community, which found then more than 140 instances of UAPs that could not be explained. The last article said 400. This says 140. Either way, quite a few. The report came after leaked military footage, which was the intro, documented seemingly otherworldly happenings in the sky after testimony from Navy pilots helped to somewhat destigmatize a subject that had been long defined by conspiracy theories as dubious sightings. All in all, the newly sincere approach to UFOs has a long-time skywatchers excited. I'm not sure who the quote is here. Oh, Nick Pope. I'm confident that in 2022 is going to be a seismic year for UFOs. Well, we are now in, well, tomorrow's September. So something crazy better happen in the next few months or it's been a bust. But let's see. Nick Pope, who spent the early 1990s investigating UFOs for the British Ministry of Defense. In Congress, where a bipartisan group of senators has been pushing for years for the government to release more information on UFOs, and from the U.S. Defense Department and intelligence community, Pope said he senses a genuine desire to grip the issue. I don't know. And we'll kind of leave that article there. Again, I want to check in with our guest tonight. Jackal, Crusader, what do you think on that?
None of this is making sense to me. That's because I'm half paying attention.
Jackal, you are live.
I know.
Here with the rest of us.
Uh,
I've read a lot about Nick Pope and a lot of things. I've looked into a lot of what he said and what he's talked about.
mhm.
And he's right. There is a lot more to this, and there is a big social acceptance of it, and people are now asking more questions about it. And what is happening now is the unidentified aerial phenomena has been separated because there's the aerial phenomena, and then there's the submarine phenomena, where people are seeing things in large bodies of water.
Right.
And that's why they've separated the two, to try and to break them up and to figure out and to classify what's going on with those.
Yeah.
But that's a little bit of a background that Nick Pope went into many years ago. I think there's more to this, and they don't want to say too much because I can't remember when exactly it was, but there was a narrator who was reading War of the Worlds on the radio. I believe it was in the mid 1930s.
Yeah, and everybody lost their minds.
Public panic ensued.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, people are stupid. And that's what they kind of want to avoid having happen again.
Mm.
And that's why they're kind of talking out of both sides of their mouth, and they're not really admitting one thing or another. So, because they don't even know what's going on.
Yeah. I just wonder why they're, I mean, then again, maybe not, but I'm wondering why they think this year the rest of what we have is going to be such a big deal. But
they've been saying that for 10 years.
Yeah, and the same thing with the end of the world. That was supposed to happen, I don't know, 7 times now that I've been alive.
Yeah,
So
they said in 2012 world's gonna end. No, it's not. We're still here. 10 years later.
Unless we're living in a parallel universe and the world did end.
Maybe it did end and we all descended to hell.
Well, that would explain the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Crazy theory on that.
Yeah.
That because of ever since the first activation of the Hadron Collider,
mm-hmm.
all global events have been complete opposites of what everybody was forecasting and expecting.
Mm.
And there's a theory that people are now wondering, this is a whole rabbit hole to go down,
yeah.
that if that actually set off a chain event and something happened and we're just cascading down from that into a different direction, down a different reality, so to speak.
Yeah. And that interests me, man. That's all. Like I said, we've definitely not got a shortage of things we could talk about. I mean, just pick up guys in the chat. If you will, if you've heard anything that interests you and you want to talk more about, maybe be on another show with us and join in the conversation. If any of these topics we brought up interest you, either in the chat tonight or in the comments section or at redpillrhino@hotmail.com, leave a comment. Let us know, because between the Hadron Collider, parallel universes, and all the other things we've mentioned tonight, there is a lot of things we could cover, and in great detail. So I'd love to hear you guys' inputs on that and see what you guys would like to go over and talk about and do some future content on. Anyway, we're going to pump through a few more of these and then probably call it a night. We are at 1 hour and 36 minutes, and I do not want to go over 2. I do not and will not go over 2. So help me. Just because we've had 3-hour, we've had 4-hour live streams before, and it's hard to do and hard to watch. I've watched 3-hour, 4-hour streams before, and it's like, what? By the end of it, what? So we'll try to keep it to 2 hours tonight. As a matter of fact, I'm going to skip this article here. If you want to check it, it is in the description. Canadian reports seeing UFOs in the sky at a rate of 3 times a day. That is interesting, but I'll leave that for you guys that are watching the video, either live or later on in time, to check that out. But Canada is getting a lot of UFO activity. So that is something to look into. That article is cbc.ca in the links below. All right, moving on. We have one from our so loved and adored, everybody loves this one, CNN.com. It's our favorite around here. Best channel ever.
Name in news.
Best name with booze.
Yeah. All right. Well, this one includes, looks like a video, which is a nice break from reading. So let's see what this video says. But the title of the article is Why the Military Wants to Hear About More UFO Sightings. Yes, why? Why do you? Let's see. See what this video says here. Let it boot up. If it gives me an ad, I'm going to mute it just to be safe. It's taking a while. Yep. That's an ad. That looks like an ad.
Yep.
Range Rover, you're not fooling me tonight.
Ooh, Range Rover.
Oh, look, space. I saw some spaceships. There, they knew what we were on about. All right, here we go.
Here is aircraft that is operating in a U.S. Navy training range that has observed spherical object. Here's what you'll see coming up right here is there it went. Now back up just a, no, yeah, back up. Spherical object right here. It zooms by the window in this area right there.
Let me see if I can, well, that was actually a good spot to pause. It was right there. I'm going to see if I can full screen this, if it works. It's a little bit off. Let me move it. That'll work. That way you guys can see what the heck they're talking about a little bit better without having to look at me while doing it. Couldn't see it at all there. Oh, there it is. Okay.
And as they fly by it, they take a video. You see it looks reflective in this video, somewhat reflective, and it quickly passes by the cockpit of the aircraft.
And is this one of the phenomena that we can't explain?
I do not have an explanation for what this specific
answer is yes.
object is.
And is this one of the situations where it is? That's the object that we're looking at right there? Thank you.
I do not have an explanation. So there you go. Let's move that screen back to this one here. And I'll read you a little bit of this article. Again, I'm not reading the whole article in all these because a lot of these are actually pretty long, so you could go down that rabbit hole for a while. That's why I gave you plenty of links to check out because you guys can, on your downtime, read all of this and go way further than I do here tonight. I'm just kind of highlighting these and talking with Jackal and Nate about them, but I think there's a lot more here that you guys can investigate as well. All right. A version of this story appeared in CNN's What Matters newsletter. To get your inbox, nope, thank you. Future President Gerald Ford, well, the future president way back then, maybe. Future President Gerald Ford was the top Republican in the House when he forwarded tips about UFO sightings in the Air Force in 1966. The Air Force sent an astrophysicist, J. Allen Hynek, from Northwestern University to Michigan to investigate. Here it comes. I remember these stories when I was a kid. This goes back to Art Bell. Swamp gas was Hynek's flippant explanation, according to the frustrated press release Ford issued, demanding a congressional investigation into UFOs. It was just swamp gas, guys. That's all it was. There's swamps everywhere. There's swamps in the middle of California, swamps in Colorado. They're everywhere, man. The investigation never happened, and if you want to go down the rabbit hole, odd that I just said that, of what Hynek saw and whether it was actually swamp gas, this Michigan radio report is worth the click. You know what? I'm kind of curious. What do you guys think? Should we click the link? I'm going to ask you in the chat. Nate, Jackal, what do you think? Should we click that link?
Why the fuck not?
Yeah. All right, we're going to click a link. See what guys in the chat are saying. I see Ola from Jimmy Bones. Actually, there's a few chats here. Calliope, I'm going to get that right. Quick hello, I've been listening, but I am not directly in front of a computer. Don't worry, there's nothing to see here, just my ugly mug. Jumping back over. Oh, do it. All right. Well, that was... all right. On with it. Opening a new link. Here we go. We'll jump over here. This is apparently radio. It's 12 minutes. 12 minutes. Fine. I'm down. You guys down?
Sure.
All right.
Sure.
We're doing it.
You're listening to Stateside. I'm Cynthia Canty. This was the week in 1966 when Michigan was swept by UFO fever. It all started with a sighting over a farm in Dexter, and it wasn't long before the venerable Walter Cronkite himself was anchoring a CBS report, UFO, Friend, Foe, or Fantasy.
Good evening. Reports of flying saucers are nothing new. From the beginning of recorded time, men have been seeing unexplainable things in the sky. And there's no reason to doubt they saw something. The question is, was what they saw really there? And what was it they really saw? The great flying saucer mystery of 1966 began here, near Dexter, Michigan, late in March.
And that uncorked it. Soon UFO reports were pouring in from one end of the country to the other. Harry Wilnes was teaching in Southeast Michigan in the 1960s, and Harry's been investigating UFO sightings for some 60 years. With us now. Welcome, Harry.
Thank you.
I was in junior high school at the time, at the risk of dating myself, but I so well remember that everybody had UFO fever 51 years ago right now. And so it wasn't just here in Michigan, was it?
No, actually, this was a widespread phenomenon over a number of states, and it went on for quite some time. This was not just one event that happened in Dexter, but days and weeks before that, and it continued for days and weeks and actually months after that period.
Well, let's listen to a clip from that CBS report. Here is father of 10, Frank Manor, a farmer from Dexter, and he's describing just what happened when his 6 dogs began barking the night of March 20th, 1966, and he went out to see what was going on over his swamp.
I looked to the north of me, and looked like a fallen star. It was red and kind of coming down, and when it got to the top of the trees, it stopped, and a blue and a white light come on it. And I looked at it, and I thought I was seeing things.
And Harry, this sounds like a very practical man, not one given to flights of fancy, but this flying saucer wasn't a quick here and gone thing, was it?
No, it wasn't. And when he saw this object, he thought at first, of course, it was a falling star. But when this thing stopped and then came down and hovered above a tree there in the back of his house, swampy area, that really caught his attention.
And it was what, like over 4 hours? And he wasn't the only one to see it, right?
No, this was quite an event. Actually, that night there were a group of townies which gathered. This did take place over some 4 hours. This object or objects would come and go. And what really caught his attention was that this thing drifted on down and appeared to land in the swamp. And then that's when he got his son, Ron, and decided they were going to go in and have a look. I believe that the mother was told to call the Washtenaw County Sheriff, and eventually that night there were 6 squad cars with 12 or 13 deputies and actually 3 detectives who showed up over this 4 or 5 hour time period to take an observation of what this thing was.
And they saw it.
They saw it at various times. Again, this thing would come and go. When Frank did wander into the swamp, if you read the police report, which I got a copy of, which was written by deputies Fitzpatrick and McFadden, they were at one end of the swamp, and when this thing took off, it's actually in the police report, they said it sounded like a rifle shot in a canyon. There was also reports of this thing sounding like an ambulance siren.
But sadly, there were no such things as cameras on smartphones so people could snap pictures, right? Because nobody got a picture of what happened that night?
Deputy McFadden, I believe, did take some pictures, but taking pictures at night, even nowadays, what you basically just get are blurbs of light.
And so the Air Force got involved with this too, didn't it?
They sure did. For some reason, this was picked up by the newspapers. There were many other reports and sightings which were probably far better than this. But this raised so much of a ruckus that the Air Force, Project Blue Book, they did investigate UFOs until 1969. And they sent their top front man, that's Dr. Alan Hynek, who I got to know very well over time after this. They sent him to Dexter and to Hillsdale. There was another report the following night, of course, in Hillsdale. They sent him here to track down exactly what was happening and said, why don't you also hold a press conference? Let's explain what this was.
And so what was the explanation?
Well, this is very interesting. Hynek was taken by Washtenaw County Sheriff, that's Doug Harvey, who I also interviewed. He was taken out to the Manor Farm. He put some boots on, sloshed around in the swamp. On the way back to the office, Hynek admitted to the sheriff, he said, I don't know what people saw. And something very interesting happened after that. Very few people know this. After they were in the office, Hynek got a call from Washington, and I asked Doug Harvey, how do you know it was from Washington? He said, because the dispatcher stepped into the room and said, Dr. Hynek, you've got a call from Washington. Hynek stepped out of the office, took the call, came back in a few minutes later. Harvey described him as looking a bit shooken. He had his head down and he was mumbling, swamp gas. Swamp gas. It was swamp gas. I don't think Hynek knew at that time what swamp gas was. And for your listeners, a lot of people have certainly heard that term.
We have heard the term. What does it mean?
It's a phenomenon that can occur in swampy areas. It can be gaseous substances like methane, which at certain times of the year, under certain conditions, can kind of bubble up. Occasionally it can ignite and form a bubble and kind of drift off and actually be a lighted structure like. And this thing can float there for a bit and then maybe just pop out. It can sometimes give crackling or popping noises. And then across a swamp, maybe, there's another one that occurs. That might give the appearance of movement.
I'm trying to read between the lines. So when the doctor went in, he was different when he came out after taking that phone call. Do you think somebody in Washington said zip it and say it's swamp gas, but there really was something more to it?
I think he was looking for an explanation, and there are a lot of stories out there about how Hynek came up with swamp gas. One was he got this from a U of M chemistry professor. Another story I heard were a group of astronomers met with Hynek the night before the press conference, and they were searching for some kind of an explanation, and maybe that's where it came up. But I think the real story is the one that Doug Harvey, Washtenaw County Sheriff, told me about how Hynek took that phone call from Washington.
His changed demeanor.
His changed demeanor, correct.
And I know even then Michigan Congressman Gerald Ford kind of weighed in on all of this. So Congress was involved as well?
Well, after the press conference held at the Detroit Press Club, again, this was picked up by the newspapers. Hynek, again, at this press conference, he was a man on the spot. He needed some kind of an explanation. He said he was literally invaded by hordes of reporters, people crowding around, shouting questions. They were looking for little green men, he said. And, of course, they didn't get that. He needed something, and he lashed onto the swamp gas. But he did say over and over, I cannot prove this in a court of law. This may not be the explanation, but it's a possibility. He needed something because the press was in such an uproar. This was in virtually every newspaper in the country.
How long did this last, and when did it kind of die down?
I can't say for certain, but I know that this went on for some weeks after. The 1960s were a great time for UFO reports. So this went on for a period of time.
1966, NASA was winding up the Gemini program, and it was ramping up the Apollo program and working its way to that moonshot that we saw 3 years later. Could some of this be chalked up to space fever?
At that time, no, I really don't think so. Some of these reports, there were far better reports than what took place at the Frank Manor Farm. One report, a Washtenaw County sheriff, had a UFO hovering 75 feet over his car. He said it knocked out his radio. He had radio problems. So no, this wasn't space junk or the space program.
What do you think?
Oh, I think I've been studying this again for some 60 years. I'm convinced that planet Earth is being observed. The present figures are that about every 3 minutes somewhere in the world a UFO is seen. Most go unreported, but they are seen very frequently. And I tell people, if you don't believe in this stuff, fine. But ask your 10 best friends this question. hey, have you ever seen a UFO? Have you had some kind of an experience that you couldn't quite figure out what it was? And you'll find that one of your friends, on average, is going to say, I have seen something. And then you got to be a good listener. Don't make a smart remark like, what were you drinking or what were you smoking that night? What you've got to do is be serious about it and ask them to share the story with you.
Why do you think, as you say, if there's one every 3 minutes, why aren't we talking about it now? You saw how, for example, the clown sightings swept everywhere, the crazy clown sightings last year. Why are we not buzzing about it in 2017 the way that America was in 1966?
We've really been conditioned to this. You can thank our U.S. government for this because there's been a long history of debunking. In other words, the government did not want to deal with this. They did not want reports like this coming in consistently.
And why not?
Well, people have studied this, and part of the problem would be that if it did come out that Earth was being watched, that we were, in effect, being looked at by other intelligences, there would be some serious ramifications. One thing would be the energy factor, and maybe they've got some kind of energy that would really help us. You can imagine that maybe big coal or oil or other energy producers might not want this to come out because it might really infringe on their business. Another thing, there might be panic. Some people just could not accept this. I'm wondering what certain religions would do to actually have to admit that, yes, there are intelligences. They may have a problem.
Now, in all of your decades studying this, have you ever laid eyes on a UFO?
I've actually had one sighting, and it was a daylight affair, but it was very, very high. It moved very quickly across the sky. It was on a Tuesday night about 7 o'clock. We used to play basketball at my house. My back was bothering me. I went over on the grass and laid out just to stretch my back out. I never would have seen this otherwise. Clear blue sky. I looked straight up, and this object was, my sense was it was much higher than a plane, but it was moving 6 to 8 times as fast as a jet would move across the sky. That's my only sighting, but I've talked to hundreds and hundreds of other people who have had far better sightings than that.
Well, years worth of work, and when we all think about what was going on that started in Dexter, Michigan in 1966, it is fascinating. Harry Wilness, UFO investigator and retired teacher. Thank you so much for being with us, Harry.
Thank you.
You're listening.
There you go. That was some very interesting stuff to hear there. Now, most of you probably heard the story before, but to hear it like that and to hear a little bit more about what went on that night, that's pretty interesting. And that's exactly what Crusader Nate had said. It might cause panic. And, there's some truth to that. If they just said, hey, by the way, we've known the whole time, that kind of screws a lot of things up for a lot of people. Not just the denial of it, but again, he pointed out religions, certain, religious establishments. How are you going to explain that? You have this whole, belief system, and then this comes along and kind of shakes that up a little bit. It's definitely interesting stuff. Jackal, Crusader, what are your thoughts there?
Go ahead, Jackal.
Well, you definitely do have a point there. With as much, I would say, just creative media and stuff that's already out there, movies, video games, comic books, of just somebody who may or may not have been on drugs when they created this stuff. They just thought about it in their head, or they got some inspiration for said media out the wazoo. People have kind of gotten accustomed to thinking aliens are what they call them the Greys. That's what some of the government officials will call them. They call them the Greys. These short, little, skinny, big-headed, completely jet black-eyed aliens with tiny mouths.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what people think of. That's the first image that comes to mind when they think of aliens now. So when you've got stuff like that out there and people are so engrossed in media of that type, it wouldn't surprise me that just a simple hint of supposed evidence of aliens existing and possibly even walking among us using technology to mimic humans is going to, of course, throw those that have lower mental capacity to just completely go nuts. So
Yeah.
keeping that under wraps would definitely have some consequences as well as some pluses. But yeah, this doesn't surprise me that you need to keep it, at least not totally deny it, but give them little crumbs here and there to keep them, as you said, keep them complacent.
Yeah.
So don't say, yeah, they're aliens, we don't know what this is, because if the government says we don't know what this is, yeah, then there's going to be panic. And of course, now they want people to have the most trust in the government. So if there's a supposed threat out there of extraterrestrial life out there that could potentially be hostile, and the government, whom is supposed to be looked up to for protection, says we don't know what we're dealing with here, oh fuck yeah, people are going to be rioting in the streets.
Yeah, I agree with you there. If the government just flat out admits, yeah, there's something there, and we don't know what it is, that would cause some serious problems for sure.
Yeah. Well, if you look at it this way, if you spoon feed people little bits of information, a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, day by day by day, they build up a tolerance to it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you have a populace that you know will panic and freak, if you get them to where it's gotten to a point where it's socially acceptable to discuss this, when they come out and they, pull the veil back and they show it to you, you're like, oh yeah, we knew it all along. You're not going to have the mass population freak out and riot and panic. So maybe they're trying to spoon feed us little bits at a time of more information.
Yeah.
Just and keeping the same talking point of they don't know what this is. People already don't trust the government as it is, but
yeah.
And maybe this is their way of saying, hey, we don't know what this is, but we're getting little bits and bits more. But yeah, there's far more to all of this than any of them are willing to admit or even discuss. And they're trying to hold on to any power, influence, and control that they have over society, so that if they keep releasing little bits of information to people, they can maintain that power and control and influence over the society as a whole. So they don't want the panic to ensue. That's why they're doing the little bits and pieces of it. But yeah, this, like I said before, there are far more you look into this stuff, there's more questions than there are answers.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. And, you both make good points, but, yeah, if the government just comes out and says that, yeah, that would be a problem. But here's the thing. This actually, we talked about misdirection with them releasing something in I think it was 2020 when they released that footage. But at the same time, it makes you think, yeah, it could have been a misdirection, but people's reaction to it was kind of like, yeah, aliens.
Right.
Yeah, sure. So I wonder if that
testing
was,
the waters.
Yeah, exactly. They were just kind of seeing what people's reactions would be. Maybe they're at the point now where they think, all right, people already accept it. Maybe we could release some more information. Although, government releasing information, I feel like that just isn't going to happen. Telling the truth is not something governments are very good at doing.
No. But if you look at it, it's very similar to the frog in the pot. You boil a frog in the pot. You just slowly raise the temperature a little bit at a time, and the frog doesn't notice.
Right. Speaking of frog in a pot, nobody has noticed. We have gone to 2 hours and 2 minutes now. And I said, no, we are not going over 2 hours. So we already are. So I lied again. But yeah, let's wrap this up. There are a couple other articles that you guys can read. There's one from nasw.org. That one's pretty decent. You can look into that one. There is another one here from scientificamerican.com, and that I won't go over tonight. And then there is a wyonisnews.com. Presence of alien tech on Earth. Scientists want to probe interstellar object lying in the Pacific Ocean. I'll touch on that one briefly. The other two articles you guys can check out on your own, just for time. And my computer's starting to lag too, so I don't want to have any problems there. All right, so let's get into this article really quick. And then the last article, I'll leave everyone thinking, hopefully. And then we'll end it. We'll do final thoughts and then close down from there. All right. Let's see. You can see that on the screen pretty good. Let's see if it'll work in full screen here. How's that? That's not bad.
Yeah.
All right. Presence of alien tech on Earth. Scientists want to probe interstellar object lying in the Pacific Ocean. What we have here, a Harvard scientist wants to investigate a meteor that is said to be an alien technology and currently lying in the bottom of the Pacific Ocean. Good job pulling that thing out. Last week, a document released by the United States Space Command, USSC, stated that researchers discovered the first known interstellar meteor to ever hit Earth. I wonder why they think it's technology, though. As per the document released by the U.S. Space Command, the officials noted that the meteor made an impact on Earth on January 8th, 2014, was an interstellar object. And there's an ad to buy some stormtroopers, keeping with the space theme. The object, measuring just 1.5 feet across, is named CNEOS 2014-1-08. All right. Researchers noted that it crash-landed along the northeast coast of Papua New Guinea. In the latest development, Harvard astrophysicist A.V. Loeb claimed that the object is apparently a piece of alien technology. That is a bold claim. Very bold claim. I'd like to know where they got that idea. I'm waiting for that to be addressed here. Our discovery of an interstellar meteor heralds a new research frontier, Loeb wrote on the debrief. The fundamental question is whether any interstellar meteor might indicate composition that is unambiguously artificial in origin. Better still, perhaps some technology components would survive the impact, he added. Significantly, Professor Loeb spent decades studying astronomy, and reportedly he is probing the possibility that life exists beyond Earth. As reported by the Daily Mail, he suggested that the object can be investigated by taking it out and using a magnet in order to examine it. All right. Little far-fetched, but I suppose if there's some metal or something in there. But then again, if it's extraterrestrial technology, who's to assume that they even use anything we would use? So I gotta kind of, play devil's advocate.
Scientists in America's state of Florida are trying to restore the damaged reefs.
You got me. Where was I? All right, my dream is to press some buttons on a functional piece of equipment that was manufactured outside Earth, Loeb said. Also wrote, the document released by USSC noted that the velocity and trajectory of the meteor suggested that the space rock was apparently from deep space, meaning the extrasolar in origin. The paper also mentioned that the discovery will help enable a new method for studying the composition of interstellar objects. All fine and well, but I'm not seeing anything here, and that is the end of it, that suggests why they think it's alien technology. So we need to check back with this guy and see why he believes that. Perhaps in a future video we can entertain this idea more and see where he's getting that idea. But I'm not seeing any evidence there other than it's from deep space. All right. I told you I'd save the best for last and leave you guys with some questions. So that's the goal. We don't have the answers, but there are questions here. This is from popularmechanics.com. All right, and this is May 31st, 2022, so it's a little old, but not that old. 6 solid reasons to actually believe in aliens. We can't be the only ones in the vast expanse of the cosmos, right? And getting into it. Are aliens real? We don't know for sure, but we want to believe outer space is a vast expanse that we have so much more to learn about, which is why it's hard to flat out deny the possibility that other intelligent life forms exist. All right. If life can exist and persist in seclusion and in some of the harshest conditions on Earth, just look at the, I don't even know what that is. Tardigrades? I'm not sure.
Tardigrades? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What are those?
They exist everywhere. They're the smallest form of life that have been seen able to live, thrive, and survive in the vacuum of space in frozen conditions. They're microscopic, but they're literally able to survive everywhere.
That is pretty cool. I'll have to look more into them, but they can survive in space. That's saying something.
Yeah.
All right, jumping back into that, it's likely that other interplanetary life forms have evolved and acclimated to conditions in space too. As the renowned science writer Arthur C. Clarke once said, 2 possibilities exist. Either we are alone in the universe or we are not. Both are equally terrifying. Yeah, no kidding. Several discoveries and theories from the greatest minds in science point to the likelihood that there's something beyond us in the universe. So there's a pretty decent chance that we have neighbors somewhere in the ether. It's time to consider the evidence. Here are 6 solid reasons for believing aliens are among us. 1. USS Nimitz 2004 event, which we played at the beginning, but we will play again right now.
Dude, there's a on, bro. There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude.
Those are clouds at the bottom of that.
Yeah.
At the side of that.
It's going fast.
Yeah.
That's not our LNS though, is it? It's not. That is the LNS, dude. Well, if there's look at that thing. It's rotating.
That's water.
Yeah, right into the water.
Nickel 6-1 Tango.
And look at this.
Roger. There's troubleshooting. Did you box moving target? No, I took an auto track. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow. Look at that.
Crazy.
Yeah. That thing is exceeding speed limits of anything man-made.
Yeah. Yeah, and they caught it, man. That was the cool part. We actually have footage now. I mean, unfortunately, it's not great footage, but you know.
Raises enough to raise a question.
Exactly. So that's that video. Let's go on. We don't need to read all of this because that basically explains itself.
Yeah.
World War II Foo Fighters. All sorts of fun stuff for the end, guys. So let's check this one out. Let me make sure I got the other one stopped so we're not hearing 2 videos at once. Okay. All right. Here we go. On to number 2. By the way, YouTube, fair use.
November 1944. One of the early interesting Foo Fighter reports comes from the 415th Night Fighter Squadron. They're flying missions over northeastern France. That's not far from Germany. And this is still in Nazi-occupied part of France, where you've got a number of lights, 8, 10, 12 lights coming in on the left of the aircraft group that are apparently maneuvering in a very unusual way and then just take off at a very high rate of speed. This type of thing was reported many times.
The pilots often described these objects were sort of fuzzy lights. It could be a plasma light that would come up from the ground towards the airplane. And we know that now because there have been reinvestigations of all the files. At the time, of course, there was no Air Force. It was the Army Air Force. They were taking reports from pilots very, very seriously. Because if there was a new German weapon, all the pilots needed to know about it, and they needed to think about evasive action.
These objects were called different things at the time before they got a name, and the name that stuck was Foo Fighters. And it comes from a comic strip that was popular at the time called Smokey Stover. And he had a saying, which was, where there's a foo, there's fire. The U.S. government has never offered an explanation for the Foo Fighters. We know that the OSS, which was the precursor of the CIA, investigated. We know that British intelligence investigated this, and we don't have conclusions.
Dr. Hynek, he was just as puzzled as I think anybody else.
My father would refer to the Foo Fighters as sort of an example of something that, there's something fairly serious that we should look into, or, is worthy of investigation, at least supports the idea that there's something going on that we don't understand and we should look into.
All right, so there's that one. And that is now 2 from the military perspective. So that's very interesting, huh? The next one, which I cannot pronunciate, the Almo alien craft or asteroid. And I'll read a little bit of this article here. Avi Loeb, which I'm assuming that's Loeb, right? An impressively credentialed scientist who taught at Harvard and chaired the university's astronomy department, has put forth an interesting but seemingly far-fetched hypothesis. The asteroid Alma is actually space debris from an alien structure or a defunct alien spacecraft. Excuse me. Coming from anyone else, this might seem crazy, but again, Loeb knows a thing or two about machinations of space. While truthers are soaking up the Alma story, however, Loeb's colleagues are highly disappointed and upset that he posited they are calling an insult to honest scientific inquiry. Let's see. In March 2021, a study by Arizona State University astrophysicists posits that the object is a nitrogen iceberg broken off from a Pluto-like planet that is a distant star system. In part, it would explain how reflective the object is. Loeb countered that the chunk would had to originate on a planet with unrealistically high density. So the jury's still out on the mysterious chunk of debris. Now, I'm not sure if that's the same. That is not the same one I'm thinking of. There is another piece that they just have been looking into. I actually watched a video on today where the shape of it, I'm going to use my mouse here. It looks like 2 pieces together. So one is like an oval shape and one is a round almond shape with a dent in it. And they don't know what it's doing there or why it's there. They're watching it. They just recently discovered it. So that's another one of those strange debris in space. That one, we have 6 reasons. That might not be the most substantiated, but it is a reason nonetheless. And here's number 4 for you, a plethora of exoplanets. So we'll play that one really quick. Let me move that up a little bit, sorry. that is quite a big number there. 5,005. So, all these planets, guys, if I'm not mistaken, those exoplanets could be capable of having life on them. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Possibly.
So 5,005, just that we've discovered in the last decade here. 2 decades actually. But yeah, that's a lot of possibilities. Now, obviously, until we are able to travel to those, we'll never know for sure. And that won't probably be in any of our lifetimes, but it would be interesting if we could figure out sublight travel. I wish. Hopeful thinking. All right, number 5, the Pentagon's UFO interests. And that is a good reason. Why are they always so interested? In 2007, the Department of Defense, DoD, created a program called the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program to study space-related phenomena that could not be easily explained, usually involving the appearance of high-speed, unidentified aircraft, per New York Magazine's Intelligencer. The covert program was headed by military intelligence official Luis Elizondo, who sought to investigate reports of UFO encounters. A decade later, Elizondo quit working at the Pentagon and confirmed AATIP's existence to the New York Times. And number 6. We'll play it for you really quick, and then we'll close out for the night, get final thoughts, and that'll be the end of the show, so not too bad. Here we go.
My name is Frank Drake. I am a scientist here at the SETI Institute in Mountain View, California. I have been working in the subject of SETI for more than 50 years. What precipitated that first search was first curiosity about the existence of extraterrestrials. We know that the discovery of those creatures would be perhaps the most important scientific and eventually practical discovery we could ever make.
I think that detecting evidence of an extraterrestrial technology, someone else out there, would change everything. It helps us to calibrate who we are, where we fit in this really large cosmos. But I think it's important, even if we don't detect a signal, it's important to get the world involved in doing the search.
The searching we do is very much like the searching that has been done by other explorers. Lewis and Clark comes to mind, the great age of exploration of the 15th century. In those cases, we had a sense that there were great things out there to be found. We also knew that it was an expensive and costly adventure to take those expeditions out across the earth. But of course, in the long run, they paid off, and now we have the world as it is today.
If you start thinking about this question, you are forced to look at yourself and your world from a different perspective, a more cosmic perspective. I think if we get people involved, that's something that we can spread. And if you spread that around the world, then you lay the groundwork for the kind of cooperation that we need across boundaries and over time to solve some of the really difficult challenges that we and our planet face today.
The people who support us and contribute support to us realize that what our search is a quest which is going to enrich our civilization more than almost any other thing. It will enrich us in just telling us of what life can be in this universe.
All right. So there we have it, your 6 reasons. And we're going to do a couple chats, see what's going on over there real quick. Make sure I didn't miss any of you guys. Got to scroll back up and see where we are. Okay. We got Jimmy Bones. I'm from the government. I'm different and I love you. Yeah, sure. Let's see. We've got Jimmy Bones. 9 words. If you hear, you know that person is full of shit. Polska. here as usual to tell you panic and fear. Panic and fear. Alien ant overlords. Alien ant farm? Polska Bob, we're all going to toil in their sugar mines. Yeah, well, eventually. If we don't fix our ways. Polska Bob, this was a good show. Polska Bob again. If guys guess where that's from, you get a bonus. I guess I might have failed the bonus test on that one. You guys know?
Nope.
All right. Polska Bob.
I got some really dirty ideas, but we won't go there.
Yeah. Polska Bob, they were never past the first season. And Colitis, I'm bored. It's pronounced You see, I'm going to screw it up right now. Mua Mua. There we go. Or Mua Mua. All right. Fine. If I screwed it up again, it's on me. I screwed up. Polska Bob, Jimmy, NASA says there's a nebula that's made up of alcohol, and even though they're liars, we can still dream. If there's a nebula made up of alcohol, Jimmy will figure out a way to figure out sublight speeds. Jimmy Bones, I've heard of that nebula. Elon needs to get his ass in gear on working on making a rocket to get there and a cryo sleep chamber so we don't die during the trip. I'll sign up for that one. There you go. In the name of science, Jimmy Bones is ready to get on the ship to the alcohol nebula. You guys are awesome. Polska Bob, Nat.
We'll get on the ship with Blake. We'll get on the ship with Blake as captain.
In the Titanic. Who knew it was actually a spaceship?
Right.
Polska Bob, NASA in Hebrew means deceiver. Their logo is a snake's forked tongue. NASA's fake. Well, that's a topic for a whole different stream, but interesting nonetheless. Riggs Jr., dude from Discovery Show, Aliens, LOL. Yeah, Polska Bob, Simpsons, that's where it's from. We're all going to toil in their sugar mines. Simpsons. I stopped watching Simpsons in the 90s, man, and I don't know how it's still going, but more power to them. All right, guys. Jackal Crusader, what are your final thoughts for this evening's topic?
Jackal, you got anything?
Not really. This topic is, yes, it's very intriguing because we've got so many more questions than we have answers, but to me, it doesn't seem to be something that interesting to me, just me particularly, because I'm more concerned with stuff that is on the ground and is more of an immediate threat, like our current government, allegedly.
All right,
don't want to get us kicked off.
The next show, Jackal is picking the topic, the next one that we do together. We held him here. We tied him down and forced him to be on the show tonight. No, I enjoyed having you on, Jackal. It's always a good time. But I know this isn't your strong point in study. But yeah, next show we'll have you pick a topic and we will dive into it. That way it's more fun for everyone. Nate, what are your final thoughts?
Well, we've said it once. We've said it again. There's too much, too many questions. There's too much out there that is unknown. And all we know is that we know nothing.
Yeah.
This just verifies that.
Absolutely. And as far as my final thoughts, this may have been spurred on from something I recently watched. I did go to the theater and watch the movie Nope. And no, we do not have answers, unfortunately. And I don't know if in our lifetime we will have those answers or not. But, and that alludes to the movie itself that I watched. It's a good movie. Didn't see any woke nonsense in it. So if you like aliens, you like stuff like that, and you haven't seen it, might be worth checking out. But my thought is, even if we do discover undeniable proof of extraterrestrial existence, it may not appear like this little guy that I've had hiding back here the whole stream. The alien that we're all used to. Big head, black eyes, and running through cornfields scaring children. It may not look like that. In the movie,
that's just Joe. I don't mind him.
That's Joe. Now, actually, similar complexion. Now that you mention it, big empty eyes, starting to bald on top, kind of clueless as to where he is all the time. Could Joe be an extraterrestrial? Find out next time on Red Pill Rhino Live. Anyway,
do
guys,
a live stream.
What's that?
Do a live stream. Maybe you should go do a live stream because there's that theory that the lizard people live under the Denver airport.
There is. We could. I could allegedly do a live stream from DIA. I could. There was also some murals on the walls at DIA a few years ago. I did get pictures of those. Pretty disturbing stuff on the walls there. So DIA's got some pretty creepy stuff. There is the Freemasons logo in there, along with some gargoyles, just some weird stuff to be in an airport. But the murals with people in caskets from every world denomination, and the Dove of Peace being stabbed by a guy in a gas mask looks very Nazi-esque. Very, very creepy stuff. Anyway.
Yeah, the Nazis totally didn't escape to the moon or anything.
No, they're in Brazil. Didn't you know?
Argentina.
Argentina, yeah. Well, Mengele made it. What was the dude's name? They caught him on camera. They confronted him.
Yeah.
Oh, what was his name?
I can't remember his name. But I know what you're talking about. These are all great theories we could spend, we could create decades of content with going over this stuff.
And
decades?
Yeah, decades. And you guys did see Polska, I think it was Polska Bob, posted in the Gilded chat that documentary. Did you guys ever watch that? JFK and all that.
Oh, yeah.
I heard of that stuff as JFK before that. Yeah.
Well, Polska, post that again for anybody in the chat. Polska, if you're still in there, post it again. Yeah, Polska, you're still there. If you can, before the show ends, throw that video link in there again. That had some very interesting information in it that actually went pretty deep and suggested that the I don't want to use the word too many times. We've already used it a few times, but the regime from Germany, just don't want to get banned, guys, but the regime from Germany may have in fact infiltrated our government and our corporations and everything around us right now. And the true regime was the corporations to begin with, and that their regime in Germany was a puppet, so to speak. Very interesting stuff. Now, before we go, I wanted to finish my point on the alien thing. Even if we did discover them with undeniable proof, they may not look like what we thought in the movie. Nope, not to spoil it, because it's really not a spoiler. The alien isn't a little green man. I just want to leave it at that. When you see the movie, you'll understand, but it may end up being, we discover life, and it's way more terrifying than that guy. It might be the Pandora's box we wish we didn't open, but we don't know yet, so who knows. On that note, we've got a few more chats, and then we'll close it out. Let's see. Riggs Jr., Jackal needs another tactical fart nuke to keep him awake.
No.
I agree to that today.
No.
All right, Polska Bob. NASA's a black hole of money government program, billions of dollars for God knows what. NASA has 400 artists on their payroll. Why? Jimmy Bones, DIA has some weird shit going on there. Absolutely, man. I spent an afternoon doing my own little field trip with buddies there, and that was back with the murals, and they got rid of them. They're not there now, but weird stuff for sure. Polska Bob says, DUMBS, D-U-M-B-S, deep underground military bases. And Polska Bob has posted the link to the JFK and German regime video. There you go. So if you're in the live chat now, check that out. Go there now. We are wrapping up. If you're watching this and it's not live, go to live chat right now. You'll see it there. It takes about a day or two for that to process. So if you're watching this on the 1st of September, you might not see the live chat, but on the 2nd, you should. Check that video out. It's 2 hours or so of your time. But that was a mind blower, and they broke it down in such detail. There wasn't much room to say, nope. It was very, very well done. Again, about 2 hours out of your time, but you guys sat through this, so you can do it there too. All right. On that note, I think we'll close it out for the night. And until next time, like I said, let us know what you guys would like to see us cover a video on. I'd like to keep this on going. Jackal, Crusader Nate, you still happy doing these kind of shows?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This is interesting to me. I'm willing to sit through just about anything.
Awesome. So we will keep doing that. And again, Jackal, you are in the hot seat next episode. So whatever topic, any topic you want to cover that's odd, bizarre, whatever you want to do, it's on you. We'll talk in the chat in the next week or so and come up with something and do that. And you guys, email me at redpillrhino@hotmail.com with your ideas for shows, topics, links, articles, whatever you've got. Or if you're feeling generous and want to help out, because let's be honest, this isn't easy to do. And if I want to stream on multiple platforms, it does have a cost. My software has a cost. Everything has a cost. If you feel like donating, head over to paypal.com/paypalme/redpillrhino. Whatever donation you want to leave there, and if you want to leave a comment with a topic idea there as well, you're more than welcome to. If you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and share this with friends, share it with family, share it with your dog. Dogs love this content. I always have to say that, just throw it in there. On that note, we will catch you guys next time. I'll probably do a regular Red Pill live stream, hopefully Sunday. I know I've kind of been off my schedule the last few weeks, but we'll have another one of these shows. Might stick to a Wednesday format for these. So you guys, if you see the starry background, that is a video topic that is different from Red Pill. Anyway, until next time, like me, hate me, love me, loathe me, Red Pill Rhino, signing out.